In the Western world, homophobia and Islamophobia are widely recognized to be cardinal sins. There's hardly anybody on either side of the political aisle who would want this label applied to himself. Even those who are in favor of discriminatory policy against these groups usually avoid being outed as a phobe of any kind.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
I think that these words are actually unsuitable for the thing that they claim to describe. Strictly speaking, a phobia is defined as a strong irrational fear of an object or a situation. For instance, arachnophobia is the irrational fear of spiders. We would never think to condemn somebody who has a debilitating fear of heights or of public speaking. Instead, that person deserves our sympathy. Of course, when we call somebody homophobic, we don't mean that they're scared of gay people. Although there are probably people who are afraid of gay people, it's not the fear that we condemn. What we really take issue with is the feeling of hatred against gays and the intolerance of the homosexual lifestyle. The same is true of Islamophobia. It's not the fear that we have an issue with, it's the hatred. Although both terms are often mentioned in the same context, they have very little in common. Islam, like any religion, is a set of ideas that can be criticized for legitimate reasons. Reasons that can simply be summarized as hateful bigotry. It shouldn't be considered wrong or hateful to criticize the propositions found in the Quran, just like it shouldn't be considered wrong to criticize capitalism, Scientology, or critical race theory. Unlike race or sexuality, Islam is not an immutable characteristic of a person. Criticism of Islam's rules regarding sexual infidelity or the unequal treatment of women shouldn't be confused with racism against Arabs. Just like criticizing the Christian opposition to contraception isn't racism against white people. That's not to say that there aren't people who use anti-Islam rhetoric simply as a pretext for their intolerance of brown people.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Of course, this sort of racism exists and we should be wary of it. But we're doing ourselves a disservice in confusing valid reasons for criticizing bad ideas with racist bigotry, because we'll condemn well-meaning people and fail to detect racism where it actually occurs.
Yeah, it's gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so not.
It's like saying those statements, shifty Jew.
You're not listening
Absolutely
to
not.
what we are saying.
You guys are saying.
For these reasons, I suggest to avoid using the term Islamophobia and also to avoid using it in the context of homophobia or xenophobia, as if these were similar problems. The latter two are dislike of somebody because of characteristics they were born with. This will always be detrimental to the creation of a healthy, pluralistic society. But what is just as detrimental is reflexively declaring any honest criticism of bad ideas as hateful bigotry.